So, time to talk about the budget. Um, I think everyone's really looking at the budget and going, "Oh, that was it," you know. Jeremy Hunt has, of course, lowered things like national insurance contributions that people have to pay, but has pretty much frozen the rate of tax, effectively by a lot of people saying it looks like he's quote cut taxes, but in reality we're paying for it in the long run. Not only that, but we have seen, uh, you know, the services that we all expect also once again slashed and having to pay for many of these tax cuts. So, as people are saying, it looks like a tax cut, but by no means is it a tax cut. Of course, it's being dubbed as, oh, this is the budget for working people. But we have to ask, what do working people actually think of the budget? And there was this piece in The Guardian that came out today from people from Southport. Now, Southport in particular is quite important because not only is this classed as a, quote, red wall seat, it is also a coastal seat as well. And for those of you who may remember, not only are the Tories going on course to lose all their red wall seats, but also lose the coast in what was being dubbed, well, from that article at the time, a red tidal wave. So Southport is a interesting area to go to and say, what did you think of the budget, sir, over there? What did you think? So we're going to go through some of these comments that people have said about the budget, because it just goes to show you average people overall not impressed by this, and especially in a seat like Southport, which you'd think the Tories might want to actually hold on to. So, what have the people of Southport had to say? Before we do get into what they've had to say, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee Week. Well, Buy Me Coffee. There is also the YouTube one-off donation link. And of course, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So, what have the people of Southport had to say? So, here we are. One of course, Southport, we should point out in this, just to give this quote a bit of context, Southport is a massive tourist sector. To be honest, their own MP, I think, gave this the perfect survey for not only the Conservative Party, but the current state of the UK. The Grade 2 listed pier is one of the biggest draws of Southport. It's one of like the longest piers, I think, certainly in the UK. I don't know about the world, but it's been around for quite a while, and it was brought up in the House of Commons by their MP, saying the impact of this, how big this has been, and how loss of this has been to Southport. And the safety survey found it, and I like this because this perfectly sums up everything: rotting from within. What a quote to sum up the current state of the Conservative Party. But anyway, they had this quote from a guy called Matt Gregson. So he said, the pier is definitely a draw to bring people in, said Matt Gregson, the co-founder of the Pavilion Cafe and Bistro. So Southport is clearly missing out because it's closed. Gerson and his business partner, Rosie Blackburn, watched the Chancellor's autumn statement in a hope for a boost for what they would expect to be a very difficult winter. They said that our energy costs are already through the roof, and some weeks we're just managing to wash our face, and that's about it. Energy costs still playing a big effect. This idea that we aren't in an energy crisis because no one's talking about it. If you know anyone who runs an SME or a small business, their big costs are still energy. What's Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives doing about energy? Pretty much nothing. So another pair. This is another one. Another pair opened a pizza restaurant called Crave in July, and the oven alone costs around £100 a day to run, taking the company's overall electricity bill to about £2,000 a month. The increase in the national living wage would also add to the pressure that they said, saying, "I think we will just have to increase prices," said Blackburn. "We're not drowning because we're still here and we can manage. But it is a lot harder now than before COVID." And of course, tourism, large part of this. So let's see what we've had to say about this. So I think this is from, Peter Haldon, a chief executive of Fletcher Solicitors, Southport's biggest private solicitor employer, saying the measures are all sort of fine, but it just doesn't go to the fundamentals. What we're looking for as a business, and particularly for Southport, is stability and the ability to plan and invest, he said. Haldon said that the town's potential was being held back by the government's abandoning of its key pledges, such as HS2. A reduction in the national insurance is helpful, but on the margins, in comparison to the turmoil of just the last year, going backwards and forwards on investment in infrastructure and transport, it just doesn't make a difference. Again, abandoning your key infrastructure pledge, HS2. We need HS2. I keep on drumming this in time and time again, but we need HS2, we need HS3, we need HS4. And if we build it, it makes its money back. There are clear real-world examples of this, and also projects such as the Japan Shinkansen, their version of HS2, over budget, wasn't completed over time, adds millions to the Japanese economy because they have it. Spain recently just finished theirs not too long ago, adding thousands to their economy. It's again, these infrastructure projects like this pay for themselves. I just don't understand, and I still don't understand the reasoning why abandon it. But there you go. Someone else here, Karen Porter, the owner of the estate agents in Southport, has said this: "It is positive news about the national insurance cuts and workplace pensions," she said, "but overall spending has increased by about 20% this year. A lot in that is salaries. Insurances have increased automatically this year as well, and as regulations, we have to adhere to it. Everything else is just hammering away at small businesses." And you've got another one here. Dean Cartwright and his wife Jackie said that they would benefit from the increase to the pensions thanks to the triple lock, but they didn't believe that the yearly increase was sustainable. Both the Conservative voters and the Cartwrights said that they would struggle to vote for the party again due to the Partygate scandal and the economic turmoil caused by Liz Truss's short-term premiership, saying that we're both working-class people, but with the lockdown and the parties that they had, it is just terrible. Let those people die alone and we will have a party. Of course, at Bailey's, the wine bar, the co-owner Anthony Mitchell said that he too had voted Conservative at the last election, but he would not do so at next year's expected one, saying that despite the measure announced on Wednesday aimed at trying to woo voters, they were, quote, an absolute shambles of a party. Everything over the last 12 months and the pandemic. And Hunt's statements came just a day after Mitchell's co-owner at the bar, Kathy Moss, had just met their accountant, trying to figure out if we could carry on. This month, the bar was changing its budget pint to £4. While still making a loss, they'd hoped to try and scrape by until next summer. That's if we're still here, she said. Overall, you can tell in just an area like Southport alone, this budget has not gone down well. this budget has gone down like an absolute lead balloon. Overall, no one's really celebrating it. Even other Tories, even other Tories are not overly celebrating this budget because many of them are saying he hasn't gone far enough. You need more tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, because that's all they know how to do. You know, it's the same thing every time. Oh, if we cut taxes, then magically we get in all this revenue. And you're like, well, hold on, guys. Where does all this revenue come from? Growth. It comes from all the growth from lowering all these taxes. Are you sure that's going to happen? Oh, yes. Don't worry. It's just the Laffer curve. The Laffer curve, once again, has been disproved time and time and time again. This is not like the mid-90s where everyone was like, yeah, we're going to go through this liberal, neoliberal economical, economics. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it all great? The Laffer curve, guys, it's this wonderful new graph that we've got. The less taxes, we got, the higher growth it goes. Well, yeah, that wasn't proved to be right. Shock horror. So there needs to be some serious, I think, serious re-economic thinking going forward. But that in itself is going to be a big challenge, trying to sort of, sell this new type of, economic thinking where, maybe we have to shockingly, tax the rich more and put all this money into sort of, into services that the government provides because they have been stripped to the bone since the Tories came in with austerity. And the thing is, even conservative voters want good public services. And if you want good public services, you have to pay for them. And I think the idea that the UK has low taxes is a long gone by day. And many people ask, well, if we've got all these high taxes at the moment, where is all that money going? And I think if you look at a lot of economists, when they've said it, it's going, or at least attempting to go to deficit repayments. All this, budget repayments that we've got to do because they're desperately trying to, keep that down while at the same time, they're not really paying attention to actually trying to grow the economy. And I think I've said it before on this channel. The UK is still suffering from the 2008 economic crisis. As shocking as that may be, we're still suffering from it. We haven't recovered. If you look at wages, living standards, we're nowhere near where we before 2008. But that's just the state we're in, unfortunately. And it is a government one because we've had a awful government that has not really thought about the long term and instead thought, oh, well, we're only going to do things that are short term. And the short term thinking, the short term ideas. We've got a zombie government who, let's face it, are going to do nothing for, I don't know, maybe another year, maybe another 6 months. They're not really going to do anything, to be honest. But they're going to make it look like we're doing something. But it's all short-term ideas in an attempt to try and woo voters over. But as you can see here from some of these comments of these people in Southport and business owners, the exact type of people that the Tories want to woo over, none of them are overly impressed. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.